I'm going to talk to you today about two of our programs, as Hazel mentioned, Bachelor of Education Honors, English Language Primary, and Bachelor of Arts Honors in Language Studies and Bachelor of Education Honors English Language, which is our co-terminal double degree. So I'll be talking to you about both of these programs sort of simultaneously. Here are the two programs at a glance. For both programs, you have to take 156 credit points over a period of 5 years. So the total years of study is 5. And you will, for the Bachelor of Education, what we call the BEd-EL, the program on the left, you will receive training to teach in primary schools, only in primary schools. And for the double degree, it's 2 degrees with a single honors classification. So if you are in this program, you will receive training to teach in both primary and secondary schools, but you will have a particular focus. So you will focus either in primary or secondary, which will be assigned, but you can, you'll basically have the training to teach essentially in either sector, in both sectors. In terms of the content of these two programs, for the BEd-EL program, it's sort of, you're going to major in English. So the discipline studies English major, and under that, under the English major, there are 3 areas of study. So there's linguistics, literature and culture, and applied English studies. So the applied English studies, the linguistics and literature and culture will cover your sort of subject knowledge of the area. And the applied English studies are the courses in which you learn about how to teach English. So those are what we call the methodology or the pedagogy courses. For the double degree, there are 2 majors since it's a double degree. So there is the education major and the discipline studies major. For the education major, you will take courses that focus on theories and practices in English language teaching. And these courses will cover both primary and secondary school settings. And then the discipline studies major will be the courses that have to do with language studies. So let me talk a little bit about field experience. Field experience, as the title suggests, is your experience of actually teaching in the field, meaning in the classrooms and in schools. That's the goal, ultimately, to train you to be teachers in the local schools, right? So there are a number of ways in which we do that, and that begins fairly early. So in year 2, both semesters of year 2, semesters 1 and 2, you will take this field experience foundation courses. In semester 2 of year 3, you will do your first, what we call BP1 or block practice 1, which is a shorter period of block practice. In semester 2 of, in the same semester, semester 2 of year 3, you will also work on your field experience and professional learning portfolio. The first part of that, this happens in 2 parts. So you do the first part in the second semester of your 3rd year of study. And then in the first semester of your final year, you will be placed in a school for the entire semester. So this is what we call the field experience semester. You will teach your own English classes in the school, and you will have a supervisor, which is who's going to be one of us, one of your instructors at the university. And we will observe your teaching a number of times over the course of the semester and give you feedback and kind of mentor you through the process. One thing to note about the field experience, the FE, what we call the FE semester, is that if you're in the double degree, this is when you your field experience will be determined by whether you go to the primary or the secondary school will be determined by your chosen stream, right? So if you will, of course, end up being qualified enough to teach in both, but the one that you choose, you'll have the longer attachment there, whereas the shorter one will be in the other area. So if you're choosing secondary as your stream, then you will do your field experience semester in a secondary school, and vice versa. In semester 1 of year 5, you will also work on your FE and professional learning portfolio, the second part of that. All right, the next thing I want to mention is one of the highlights of our program, which is an overseas immersion. Immersion, of course, means, when you are, the idea is to immerse you in the English language so that you are sort of using the language all the time and you're surrounded by the language constantly, so that, you become more and more confident in using the language and your English proficiency increases. So for the BEd-EL primary program, it's a 10-week immersion, which takes place in the summer right after you have completed year 3 of your study. If you are in the double degree program, it's a full semester. It's the first semester of year 4, and while the BEd-EL immersion is non-credit bearing, the double degree immersion carries 15 credit points, which are transferable. So basically what happens during the immersion is you are sent to an English-speaking country. So it could be Canada, Australia, UK, US, New Zealand, usually one of those, and you study at a university there, and you take some courses. That's where the 15 credit points comes in, and you live with the local family. They're your host family, and you. There's a 2-week field experience component, teaching component. So you can observe lessons in a local school to see how. Oops, sorry about that. To see how they are teaching their lessons. You may or may not have the opportunity to teach a couple of lessons yourself. It kind of depends varies from school to school, country to country. So the immersion increases students' general confidence. It helps them to develop a wider worldview. Several of our students travel while they're on immersion as well, once they've finished the requirements of the immersion. And of course, you learn more about English-speaking cultures. So here are photographs of some of our students on immersion in different places, UK, Canada, Australia. So here are some statistics about our employment rates and what our students are doing after graduation. So these are from 2019. So 89% of our students were employed right after graduation, and the remaining 11% went on to do further studies and other things. Of the 18% who are employed, 94% of that number are working in the field of education. So the vast majority of our students, go into education. So either in teaching, mostly in teaching, and some non-teaching posts as well. And the average initial monthly salary of the full-time locally employed graduates was just over 33,000 Hong Kong dollars. We don't have any statistics for the double degree program because we are going to have our first batch of graduates this year. They're going to graduate at the end of this academic year in May. So a little bit about entrance requirements. If you are coming to us through the JUPAS route, we require a minimum score of a level 3 in Chinese and English, Chinese language and English. as well as a minimum level 2 in liberal studies and mathematics compulsory part. Just a note about the Chinese language, if you are coming from an NCS school, if you're an NCS student, a non-Chinese speaking student, the university will consider those applications case by case, and we're sort of flexible about that requirement. I apologize for the noise. We're having some construction on our floor. And in the elective subjects, we require a minimum level 2 in any one subject. This excludes extended part in mathematics. So here are our JUPAS offer statistics for both programs in different years. So we have the statistics for 2019 and 2020 for both programs. And you can see that, you know, our offers are made to those students who put us in Band A. So if you are looking to get an interview from us, it's strongly suggested that you put us as your Band A choice. The reason we don't have statistics from 2016 to 18 is because the BADL secondary program was offered in those years. So we're giving you the statistics for the BADL primary, which we have for 2015 and then for 2019 and 20. The double degree was first offered in 2016. So those are your statistics for the double degree on the right, the offer statistics. A little bit of information about entrance requirements for non-JUPAS applicants. We welcome both local and non-local applicants who are seeking admission on the strength of non-HKDSC qualifications. They're most welcome to apply to our programs via the non-JUPAS route. So they will need to do a subject interview and have a satisfactory performance on the subject interview. That's one of the entrance requirements. And these are the qualifications we recognize for those who don't have the DSC, haven't taken the DSC. So again, the non-JUPAS route. Either a recognized post-secondary qualification, such as an associate degree or higher degree. You don't necessarily have to complete the associate degree or higher degree. If you have been in the program for 1 year, you can still apply. We also accept non-local qualifications such as GCE A-level, the IB diploma, the high school graduation diploma, or the SATs. Also, students who are currently enrolled in a bachelor's degree or a higher degree program at a recognized university, either in Hong Kong or outside of Hong Kong, they can choose to transfer to our university. The HKALE qualification is also accepted. We sometimes have mature applicants. And finally, the possession of other exceptional abilities, which merit special consideration. So if you're very talented in a particular area, you can also apply on the strength of that. There are further details about this on the registry website. The English language requirement for non-JUPAS applicants. This is a list of acceptable test and score requirements. So for the A-level, grade E or above in ASL use of language, for the DSC, level 3 or above in English, and level 2 or above in English language. This is for the holders of an associate degree or higher diploma. For the TOEFL, test of English as a foreign language, if you've done the paper-based version, we require a score of 550 and 80 for the internet-based version. For the IELTS, our requirement is an overall band of 6. If you're coming to us from the GCE system, we require a grade E or above in GCE AS level or A-level English, or grade C or above in IGCSE or GCE O-level English, or grade C or above in GCSE English or English literature. For the IB, as you can see, it's mostly 4s and 5s, depending on which one you've taken. So higher level English language, the B syllabus is a 4. All the others are 4 except for the standard level English language B syllabus. We require a 5 for that. And then if you've taken the standard level A or A2 or literature, those are all a level 4. For the SAT, we require a subscore of 8 in essay writing if you have taken the old SAT exams, or a 590 in the reading and writing, evidence-based reading and writing in the new SAT format. There are other English language qualifications which may be deemed acceptable by the university on a case-by-case basis. So these are the Chinese language requirements for non-JUPAS applicants. Again, a list of acceptable tests and scores that are required. Just to note here that applicants seeking admission to programs with English as the medium of instruction, which is the case with both of these programs, are exempted from this Chinese language requirement on a case-by-case basis. So the requirement is HKALE grade E in AS level Chinese language and culture. For the DSC, it's level 3 in Chinese language or level 2 in Chinese language if you're coming with an associate degree or a higher diploma. For the GCE system, it's grade E or above in AS level or A level Chinese, and grade C or above in GCSE, IGCSE, or O-level Chinese. For the IB, it's a grade 4 in the Chinese language subject. And again, other Chinese language qualifications may be deemed acceptable by the university as well. So that's it. Here is our contact information if you need to make any inquiries.
My nickname is Wasabi. So if you guys would like to talk together later, you can call me Wasabi. And as I've mentioned, I'm studying the Bachelor of Education Honors English Language Primary, and I'm really hoping or willing to be a primary teacher in the future. Not only because of the salary, just as Britisha mentioned, but also I do enjoy my time spending with children, like teaching them and witnessing their growth, and they're really cute when they are behaving themselves. When they are naughty, you may need to force up and to get their attention, but still they're very nice in general. So here I would like to have a few things to share with you. We can go on to the next page. Next slide. So I believe that there are 5 things in the university you guys should be very familiarized with, which is in Chinese, 讀書、住 hall、拍拖、上莊同返 part time, studying, living in a student hostel, being in a relationship, participating in their students association, and to have a part-time job. And it is the priority for you to do things. The first priority for you is to study. It is a lie that your teacher made in secondary school, that they tell you, oh, you need to work hard, then when you get into university, you don't need to study. It is not very true. You still need to study. And so this would be the first part that I would like to talk about. Then I will share something about the next 4 things. And personally, I add 2 things for studying in EduHK is the exchange program or the immersion program, and our internship, our practicum, like the field experience mentioned, that we need to take in year 3 and year 5, being a teacher in the primary school or secondary school. So let's continue my sharing and go on to the next page. So what am I really studying, or what are you going to study? I think Vidisha give it quite clear sharing about the curriculum or the things we need to study, and I would like to add on some personal experience on that. So in general, we have three categories or three things that we need to study is linguistic, literature and culture, and applied English study. For me, like literature and culture is the most challenging part for me. We need to have read long writings. Sometimes it's really interesting. Sometimes it's really difficult to understand because some may in like older English, in old English, some maybe some having featuring some very difficult vocabularies. I need to like reading and keep my dictionary with me. And the linguistic part is quite fun. You may think that our grammar it should be easy. Well, I won't say that. It is challenging, but yeah, if you are like mastering in grammar already, I think you won't find a problem when you get into the university and study the grammar courses. And these are all very important for us to be a teacher. We need to get a good grade, not only for ourselves, but to have a promise or guarantee that we have the knowledge so that we are able to share it to our students in the future. And the second part of our study will be education focused. We need to learn about different teaching strategy. This is some like book or related things that we're going to study. The table below are the phonetic pronunciation, all those things you will be studying is like magic words to me, to be honest. Yes, and I really I spent nights or like weeks to remember this. And there's three books on the top is something that we need to read in our literature course. It is I would say that these three are my favorite. The Arrival, which mainly featuring pictures only, so it is a fantastic piece of work that I read because no word involved. But still, we need to think about all the hidden agenda or the what is the writer wanting to represent, and the Woman Warrior in the Dollhouse, which is a novel and a play. It is very interesting and inspiring as well. And other book or references that we need to read. So if you enjoy reading, I think you will enjoy your study very much. And the next part is mostly related to education that we need to have. We need to learn about different pedagogy or like teaching skill, classroom management. And during the lesson, it is quite uh like I really have a chance or get to the point that I understand what my teacher were doing when I was a student. Sometimes I think I don't understand why are they doing this. This is so boring. The class, why are you being like this? And then when I'm studying those strategy, I start to like understand them and meaning their importance of those rules or like talking skills. It is really important for me or and for you guys if you would like to be a teacher. And let's move on to some more interesting part is that the immersion, and I think you guys know about it as well. Yeah, those little pictures that is me in an ideal way. Yes, smiling in front of the computer, having my good sleep. You can have that when you have your tasks scheduled perfectly. Maybe like work life balance and have a good time management skills. And the compulsory immersion program, which is something I really am looking forward to, because I will have it in the coming summer. I'm really sorry that I don't have anything very personal to share with you, but according to my friends, there are which they have their immersion already. They're really enjoying their time, like being in a different place with a whole different culture enjoying the life and get to learn new things. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it if you or like get into our program and get a chance to have this kind of different opportunity. And we can move on to the next slide. As extracurriculum activities. So it is more related to the other four things of what we need to do or what we expect ourselves to do in the university. This part is the Searnjong part, joining a student association, because we are English major students. For both double degree students and primary degree students, we have a student association called the ELSA in short, which is stand for the English Language Students Association. And these are my 庄员, my members, my teammates. It's not only you guys may know those things about them beat la con like cheering and having a consultations and organizing different kind of activity like Christmas gathering or like OCAM. That is one of the important part. The second of the important part is to like create a bonding with your classmate, or else you will only be classmate attending the class when the class finish, you guys all dismiss and go home. It is a great chance that we are together. I am really grateful to meet all of these people. They're really nice. We can see that we're doing different kind of things together throughout the years. During the pandemic, especially when we have literally nothing to do. Hiking, swimming, kayaking, visiting the theme park, celebrating each other's birthdays, and like studying together, of course. It is a great chance for you to try something new in the university. And the next part will be, I think it is living in a hostel. Oh no, the buddy program. It is a exchange program in our school organized by the GAO, Global Affair Office, that I think 20 to 40 foreigners and mainlanders from other university will visit Hong Kong and stay in university. And we, as a buddy for them, we are responsible to maybe take them around, introduce them with art, introduce the campus, Hong Kong culture, playing games, or be with them when they need. I would treat it as a similar experience as the immersion, because still I need to talk in English with them for like a whole day. Sometimes I do feel really tired after the day I speak in English. Like when I went home, I was like this. My brain, I can't function. When I'm with my family, I'm speaking English as well. So I do believe that with this kind of experience, spending time with foreigners, or being in the immersion program, your English will improve for sure. And there, we have different kind of activity like the hiking as well, and we introduce different Chinese traditional culture with them. Like we organize a mid-autumn festival workshop with them, and during the talking or like spending time with each other, I get a chance to learn about different culture as well. There's in this year, most of them come from the Europe, some from Denmark, some from German, and they're really nice people. And I think you should join it when you can, if you are in our school. It's a really nice experience for you guys. And the next part should be, yes, 之后, living in a student hostel. It is a new experience for you, especially when you need to share a room with your siblings. I can have my own room with my friend, studying, having parties, get to know different people, yeah, celebrating birthday again. It may seem common or like nothing special to you, but it do feel like that we are like a family or really close friends. Because whenever I feel lonely or like I feel sad, I find them and talk to them, and they're really a good listener. So it is the way to learn how to interact with people in the most funny or like relaxing way. Yes, and these are the picture in different activities, and I think the OCAM. Yes, and you are the freshman in the first year, and you will be able to become the 走吧走嘛 or like mentor in their second senior years, which is rewarding as well. Kind of you have a chance to know different kind of new people. Yes, and the last will be some sport related things, sport teams. For me, I am participating or like I'm playing softball or baseball. There are many different kind of sports in our school, like regular sports like basketball, football, volleyball, and some different or new kind of sports like archery, rolling, fencing, touchball, 考古考, and handball. So it is a great opportunity for you to try out new things because you only live once. You don't have a chance in the in the secondary school, and maybe after graduation you would be too busy for like joining different kind of clubs or work because you are really tired after your work. So I think it is the best part to like you can enjoy your life in the university. Yes. So for me, this program is rewarding and is allowed me to work hard and play hard at the same time. So I hope that you will enjoy my sharing and you will find it more interesting, or you will be more willing to apply to our course. So maybe the time being we will have Daniel, and later we may have some Q&A section, so and we can talk together.
Thank you, Hazel. Now just allow me to share my screen and we shall begin. Right, so good afternoon, everyone, students and teachers alike. I would like to offer you a very warm welcome to this student sharing session. This is the Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Arts, Language Studies, and Bachelor of Education English Language double degree program. And I am your student speaker for today. Over the course of the next 15 minutes, I will be sharing some of my experiences as a student within the program and how exactly it helps reach our career paths or aspirations. So a little thing that I would like to get out of my head before I would like to get into the meat and potatoes, so to speak. In my opinion, I think that the world of English is a very interesting thing. It's an important thing. It's one of the best ways that you can break out into the global stage. It's the language of commerce, it's the language of aviation, it's the language of science, and I'm very certain that most of us cannot do without it, even in the tiniest of extents. And so I think that overall, it's important to teach English as a subject. And so later within my presentation, I will be talking a little bit about myself, a little bit about my aspirations, about my hobbies, and I will also be talking about what I study and how exactly they help reach my career aspirations, as I've mentioned before. Thirdly, I would like to touch a little bit about experiential learning. And what this is basically what kind of opportunities I get outside of simply studying and what I have personally joined. And finally, I would like to show you all a little gallery and document some of the changes or some of the photos over the years that I have been involved in this program and around campus in general. So let's get down to business. So who exactly am I? My name is Daniel. You may call me DK or Dingus, as often as some classmates have often referred to me, because there's another person in our program who goes by the name Daniel, and so it's quite confusing. I graduated from a local and a primary secondary school. And as you may have noticed, the way that I speak English seems quite close to that of a native speaker. And I would arguably say that English is more or less my first language, although strangely enough, the first language that my parents spoke to me is in Cantonese. I suppose there's something in me that just gets very, very interested in English and learned it very quickly. So I was accepted as a student in EDU in 2019 via the SBN scheme. So what exactly is the SBN scheme? It is known as the School Principal Nomination Scheme. And basically what it does is that whenever you perform well in specific subjects related to or useful to the program, these certain subjects will receive a heavier weighting. And because I took literature and English as part of my DSE examinations, I suppose this university has taken into consideration that it would be probably quite useful for my studies in EDU. And so they decided to take me in this way. Some of my interests include origami, the field of literature, and the theater. I've been involved in theater at school for basically 12 years on and off. I've participated in speech festivals for both monologues and duologues. And so I'd say that I have quite some considerable experience in theater on my belt. I suppose joining EduHK and this program specifically, I'd be looking forward to overseas immersion and face-to-face teaching. I'd say that these artsy aspects of my interests help fuel my creativity and methods of self-expression. And I think that self-expression is quite important in shaping your character or your persona as a teacher. You don't want a boring teacher. I don't want a boring teacher. And I think we had our fair share of boring teachers over the years, and I hope to avoid becoming one of these boring teachers. And so it's just a very quick showcase of the things that I've done over the years. On the left, you'd see these little origami models that I used to make. I admittedly haven't done much of these as of recent, but maybe I'll soon pick up on them again. And on the right, you'll see a photo that one of my drama partners have taken last year as part of a public performance that I did with a local organization during the pandemic. We've done voice training, but probably my most favorite part is combat training, since we've done experimenting with fighting with swords, fighting with staffs and sabers. And overall, it's just a really cool thing. We've done this based on an interpretation of King Richard III of Shakespearean literature. And at the bottom, you'll find this little American-looking ball. It's a doodle that I used to do. I used to be very invested into making little doodles like these. It's part of my artistic impulses. And I used to make these into little Snapchat stickers or WhatsApp stickers. And finally, this is a recent hobby, I would suppose, Stardew Valley. It's a very wholesome game, and it helps fuel my creative, say, passions, creative impulses as well. And this also helps boost self-expression. I think these are some of the more interesting ways in which I think I can probably, hopefully, connect with my students in the future. But enough about these. What exactly is it about me when I present myself in front of other people? I try not to oversell myself, but I try not to be too humble either. So I suppose an open-minded and motivated individual is quite an apt expression. And I hope that I will be able to leverage my experience in dramatic arts to be able to teach a broader audience of young minds how they themselves can also be more confident and creative whenever they use, English in general. I think this is a very important thing to keep in mind. So moving on, some of the courses that I would study include these. I think Wasabi has kindly talked about these in her presentation about discipline studies majors, though I suppose in our double degree program, there are certain things that are able to, differentiate from the primary education bachelor's degree. So the field of linguistics, phonology, and literature are some of the things that the discipline studies major offers in the double degree course. And in my opinion, I think that, because I have a strong literature foundation, I think that literature is probably my favorite course category. I think the professors are very experienced and they're very willing to share their passions, new literary genres, works with us. And in return, I'm also able to share some of my own experiences with them And overall, it's a very harmonious, it's a very cool, it's a very fun time. We've done several interesting group projects, reimagining different forms of literature, and yeah, it's quite fun, I think. Linguistics, I think it's a quite challenging thing, although I suppose it's understandably quite useful in terms of trying to dissect the different ways of which you can look at language and how we can present these in front of students. I think overall, these are very intellectually very enriching. I think they help broaden perspectives about literature and linguistics in general. And I hope that my classmates have, stand to learn a lot from these courses. And so why not? Let's talk about Raisin in the Sun and Death of a Salesman. These are some of my favorite titles. And I hope that, the professors that might teach you in the future might, allow you to find these interesting as well. So additionally, education major, we have grammar and teaching methods. Grammar, like linguistics, I also find fairly challenging, though also fairly useful. I'd like the students that I will be teaching to express themselves properly in different situations, both informally and formally. So this probably warrants the necessity for grammar. Teaching methods. This is quite interesting. I think this reflects on the sheer amount of work that professional teachers that are currently in service, and just the amount of work they put into lesson planning, and just how hectic it turns out to be. And I think that we can all appreciate all the teachers for being able to dedicate so much effort into shaping these lesson plans and learning the specific ways or strategies of how we teach all these subjects like reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Moving on, we have the education studies, of which psychology and philosophy come to me as quite surprisingly interesting subjects as well. At first, I thought that these two subjects are very jargony. There's a lot of complicated terms. There's a very strict lesson ethic. You have to be very, very focused in order to actually gain anything from it. Though I suppose it's somewhat different from my expectations. The professors themselves are also quite an interesting bunch. And I think that they themselves are able to present, teach us how to present ourselves in front of different parties. And for psychology, how we can get students to work with us instead of against us. In terms of counseling, I think they're okay. They teach us how to be considerate, thoughtful, and professional when we're dealing with students' problems, and how we are supposed to take on, roles of significant guiding figures so that we can help them lead out of their own personal problems. Okay, and so with all that said, some of the other things include general education and field experience. For field experience, it's mainly about how we can put theory into practice. And so I will be talking about this later in the gallery. I have an image there that I would like to show you. In general education, you're making connections between studies in the real world, things like creative writing, things about philosophy of urban planning, or how we are able to end sexual harassment, things like these. And I think these are also somewhat relevant, and that we can also kind of use these to teach our students as well. Right, experiential learning, because you can't just exactly bury your head in just mounds and mounds of papers or just be doing group activities all the time. So what are some of the things that I am able to thrust myself in? I'm a very anxious person, believe it or not, but I suppose for New Student Friendship Day, the student leaders of our group are able to encourage us to kind of move out of our comfort zone, take part in a wide range of ice-breaking games to get to know each other, get ourselves immersed in EduHK's campus culture. And I suppose this is a very rewarding thing, as it helps alleviate my anxieties a bit. Another thing is that there is this one, the student dialogue event that is held between our university and the pardon my German, the Pedagogy Hochschule of Zurich. So it's a Swiss university. It's kind of like the edu equivalent of Switzerland, Zurich in general. I think that the time that we are allowed is kind of short. I wish it would be longer, but what gives? Though I do find this exchange very insightful and very eye-opening. We talked about how different subjects could be related to culture, ethics, philosophy, and how they are taught. Some things like religion as well, how we conduct practica, so how we go and actually teach in schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. We talked about educational policy, school systems, and overall, I think we all share some hardships together. And overall, it's a very understanding moment where we all have kind of into with, interesting things to learn about each other's countries and how we all conduct things in our respective countries. So finally, with all that said, this is quite a mouthful. So I'm going to now head to the gallery very quickly and show you all some of the images that I've had. In year one, it's a rather casual period for me, I think, personally. We're all just trying to, feel the ropes, test the waters, and see, what exactly our capabilities are, and what kind of friends we would like to, make. So we have these. Usually it's between group projects. Sometimes it's reunions, like the top right. This is basically a reunion between me and the student group leaders from New Student Friendship Day. And by year two, this is the one where I'm talking about field experience. In the top left image, you'll find that there is an image between me and my mentor as we are scheduling activities and where we could, where I can meet with her and actually become her assistant, where I will be thrust into an environment where she works in, how I manage students, how I correct papers, or say create lesson materials. And overall, it's a very realistic experience that I think I have much to learn from. There's also micro teaching sessions where we pretend to be teachers and teach a pretend group of students, as you can see with the phonics and stress. And also there's an internship I joined over the summer where I am able to help create lesson materials for a group of primary students with some other professors. And finally, year three, this semester, some images are as fresh as you can get. They're just taken 2 days ago between me and my classmates while we're celebrating someone's birthday. I managed to take the time to deepen my relationship with some of my close classmates, and we still keep in frequent touch with each other. I think overall we've had a very rewarding time, and even though I've had my anxieties, I think that these people are some of the ones that I trust the most to share my anxieties with. And so even though I am quite an anxious person, I think that I can still bank on these people to be counted upon. And so with all that said, I would like to thank you all for coming along with me on this journey to listen on with my experiences at EduHK and the double degree program in general. And so, yeah, this is just about it. Thank you very much.